Welcome to Match Play, where every episode starts with a spark and ends with insight that can only come from personal experience at the highest level. Let's tee up some good conversation. Welcome back to Match Play. I'm Thad Miller. I want to welcome a good friend of mine, Dr. Dipesh Sitaram, who is an entrepreneur, visionary leader, and former dentist. Well, he's still a dentist, and he's successfully transitioned into real estate, private equity, and investment banking. After building a successful career in dentistry, Dipesh founded Acuere Capital Partners, focused on long-term value by generating steady returns for its investors. Every episode of Match Play starts with a spark. Let's get going, Dipesh. Light that match, and we're going to ask some rapid-fire questions, and we'll get in.
You ready?
Ready. All right, here we go. What's your best investment ever, Dipesh?
I would say my private credit deals, where I lend money and act as essentially the bank.
All right. Best restaurant in Austin, Texas?
Lot of great barbecue. This is barbecue heaven, Terry Black's.
What was it again?
Terry Black's Barbecue.
Terry Black's Barbecue. I love it. All right. This is personal. Who's the GOAT, Kobe or Jordan?
Jordan.
Oh, see, I know you're a big Kobe fan. That was a trick question, but I thought I could box you in. So
they're so together, but like.
Well, hey, Dipesh, thanks for joining. You're such a fascinating human. I've known you for 25 years, and I'm so grateful for you joining. Give us a little background on what you're doing right now. We'll go in the past a little bit, but what are you doing right now?
Yeah. So, after retiring out of dentistry, I started our family office / private equity firm. So building out a couple of verticals. My biggest and my passion project right now is my healthcare real estate fund. So that's going to be kind of a big part of what our organization does as a whole.
Wonderful. And this is all healthcare?
Healthcare real estate, so hospitals and surgery center real estate type of stuff, right? And mainly because of my background in understanding the operational side of healthcare and really having deep knowledge and expertise in that and marrying that with the real estate side of the things that I do, right? So it's a very strategic play to help us with not only wealth preservation, but also on the taxation side of stuff.
Great. Well, and this is a fascinating story. Dipesh and I actually worked together on his sale of his dental practice, which was a highly successful dental
practice. We go further back than that.
You go way back than that, for sure.
You helped me start my first office when you were, DDS Match wasn't even a thing.
Exactly. Yeah. And again, we've been together a long time. And I think the most fascinating thing when I was working with Dipesh on his sale is at the time, give me a sense of your schedule. You were flying first class Southwest back and forth to Austin. So give us a little background on that. So moved your family, but still had a practice in Indiana.
Yeah. So 3 years ago, we moved the family down to Austin, Texas, kids' education and things like that. Right. So, I was still practicing, didn't really have an exit strategy lined up yet, but we kind of figured it out. I was flying back and forth Austin, Indianapolis on a weekly basis and pretty much I was running Southwest Airlines like my private jet operations. I had that thing perfected to I'm not kidding. I had a particular parking spot at the airport. The guys had the keys to my truck. They would fill up gas in there. They would put food and drinks in the truck because everybody knew my schedule, right?
Yeah, the flight attendants, first name basis.
First name basis, like literally. If I had it so good, and I'm lucky, if I was late getting to the airport, they would legitimately hold the plane.
Oh, you were once a week in and out.
They would call me like, "Hey, where are you?"
Where are you, Dipesh? I love it. It's like your private jet, exactly.
Yeah, and I had a particular seat on the plane too. Somebody else sat in there. Oh, they're getting up.
Oh, really? The
on Southwest.
like this is for Dr. Sitaram.
Yeah.
So, all right. So let me ask you this. So, I mean, I fly Southwest sometimes. I know they're going to the assigned seating. Are you more in favor of the assigned seating or the get in line?
Assigned seating now, and the reason is post COVID, the consumers were abusing Southwest Airlines in a very big way, right? So like you can go up to the counter and have some poorly defined excuse
Yeah.
on why you need to be a pre-boarder,
Yes.
and they would allow you to do that, right?
Yeah. They
Uh,
just couldn't do
because
that.
the Southwest customer service agent just didn't have the backbone to say no, right? If somebody's an A1 passenger getting in as a 25th passenger on the plane because the first 24 pre-boarders, they're going to get pissed.
Yeah. See, I liked
So they
the
were
old
abusing.
way only because I would go in full profile mode. Like if there was a screaming kid or something like that, I'm like, okay, I need to make sure to know where they are so I could pick my seat and be so far away from them. It was just
Yeah, Southwest. I mean, they're changing up everything now. It's no
yeah,
longer a discount airline. I mean,
yeah. No,
they're
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 charging for everything.
So, okay. So obviously, Dipesh, you went to school, got a business degree, then went to dental school.
Yep.
You started investing early in hotels and different things of that nature while you were building your dental practice. Give us a little sense of what that history was.
Yeah, so we were doing our first hotel kind of right out of the gate, fully leveraged, and because I mean, obviously, I didn't have a balance sheet at that point, or nobody should have been lending me any kind of money, right? But it all worked out,
Yeah.
and then just kind of kept going and going.
Well, and at this point in time, what is your hotel portfolio right now?
We have amassed a very large hotel portfolio at this point. So a lot of hotels, a lot of multifamily, doing some condo developments, and then in a few other verticals as well.
Yeah. All while having a full-time dental practice where you were doing implants, you were doing full TMJ. I mean,
Yeah, it was
incredibly comprehensive.
our dental practice was pretty much 100% TMJ oral surgery practice, right? Uh, Everything related to TMJ, from the non-surgical and the surgical side of TMJ, from setting up cases, executing them, and finishing them off. And that was my bread and butter. I didn't do much traditional general dentistry type of stuff at all. It just wasn't my practice.
Yeah. And
And
you didn't
I was
sleep much either because you had all the, I mean, do you not
yeah.
sleep, Depeche? I mean,
I mean, and there's a caveat to it. I was really blessed with like a solid team, right? So like, you're really lucky when you have one team from your whole career,
right.
right? So it was a very well oiled machine that we had. I mean, it was a great operation,
Well,
which makes everything easy.
well, and you took care of them. I mean, I think
Right.
that's the thing. Like people that have good teams, I always look at the owner and like they must have taken care of them too, because
Yeah.
if you have a great team and you're not, they'll leave and you won't have a good
You
team.
know, especially in this day and age, I mean, it's tough, very difficult.
Very difficult. And you weren't necessarily in Indianapolis. You were in Columbus, Indiana, 45 minutes from, most of the population in Indiana. I mean, Columbus
And
is a
living in
great
Austin.
city. Yeah. And you were living in Austin. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. So at what point where you were like, okay, I need to focus on my new business, or not my new business, but my investment business and move away from dentistry? Because obviously you were very passionate about dentistry. You loved
Yeah,
it. It was emotional when we got this done.
it was very emotional. Like, I mean, 2 years of a lot of emotion, and then the last 6 months was like amplified, right? Like,
Yeah.
what am I going to do? And luckily for me, the the family office side of the business just kind of grew organically over the past 10, 15 years. So it was kind of going in the background. Uh, And I never realized how big of a company I had built just as a side hustle.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't realize it until my schedule loosened up of not having to do surgery every day. And I was able to kind of sit back with my team and go through like the balance sheets and all of that. And they're like, dude, like, why are you looking for surgery centers in Austin to practice? Like, let's shift focus. This is the time to do it. And you have a huge company that like you have a Bugatti set up and you just need to sit down in the driver's seat now.
Yeah. Yeah. And focus on that. And obviously this has given you the opportunity to do that. So
Right.
how did your background in clinical, like precision? I mean, obviously you're focusing on things that are the size of people's pinky fingernail, right? You're
Yeah.
every day, right? And how did that, influence your approach to like investing and different things? How are they the same? How are they dramatically different?
I think it's relatively the same. Why? I'm huge on education. And I've done 4 or 5 fellowships and a mastership, all within the surgical TMJ realm. So for me, it's keep the main thing, right? Pick your lane and get deep subject level expertise and knowledge in that vertical.
Yeah.
And really master it, and then put the systems in place to make it flow really well, right? So you have really good positive patient outcomes on the back end, and then everything from the front end towards the middle just is a seamless process, right? So I've taken that same level of acumen on the private equity family office side of the business, right? Now, keep in mind, in dentistry, I was super well coached, with a lot, consultants, came across right people at the right times, and I'm doing taking that similar concept and philosophy on the business side of stuff. And it has gained a lot of traction in a very short period of time, which is amazing because I didn't think it would take off as quickly as it has.
Yeah. Speaking of those early mentors, is there anything that sticks in your head, like a tip that somebody gave you and you can give them a shout out?
Yeah. So
Really,
one of the first guys I met out of the gate. So we graduated in May. In June, Patterson. So you remember Bob Keaty?
Oh, sure.
He took me to Vegas. I ran into Imtiaz Manji
Yes.
at a poker table by chance. And he's an Indian guy. I mean, and so we started, shooting the shit. And typical Imtiaz fashion, like, what are you doing? What's your plans? He had just opened the Scottsdale Center,
Yeah.
like a week before or something like that. And we got to talking. And this is a true story. I was like, man, I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to practice. Probably just going to open 10, 15 locations, hire a bunch of people, and do the business side of stuff, right? And he was like, no, you're not going to do that. And I turned around like, what the hell are you talking about, man? And he was like, you're going to be more successful having running it really well and becoming a really good subject matter expert and highly specialized into it. You'll be way more successful than having 10, and I promise you that. And if you don't believe me, come out to Scottsdale next week. And at first I shrugged him off. So when I flew back to Indiana, I scheduled a trip to Scottsdale just to figure out what the hell this guy's talking about, right? Went to Scottsdale Center, and I was one of the first students to walk through what is now Spear Education.
Yeah.
He didn't have a course lineup. I mean, he was figuring it out. I was trying to figure it out. And I just kind of rolled the dice. I was like, what the hell, man?
Yeah. No, MTI has impacted a lot of people for sure. And, that's fascinating because, being in the dental space, being in the veterinary space, you don't want to kill the golden goose by trying to duplicate it elsewhere. Now, there are people that can do it, and there are people that are very successful at it, but you really have to know that duplication isn't always exact. It goes back to those people. It goes back to the teams. It goes back to the systems. And if you don't have that, then it'll actually hurt the mothership. But I know
and the key
you had great partnerships with a couple other practices. You're talking about you may be starting another dental practice in a partnership. So you picked right people to do it with, and that was what made the difference for you, correct?
Absolutely. That's the key, right? In you have to kind of meet the right people at the right points in your life.
Yeah.
And then take the appropriate calculated risk. You know, at the end of the day, any business decision is a risk, right?
Correct.
And then you make the best of it, right? And you just kind of don't look back. And you got to get through the wins and losses together. And you learn from all the losses. And that's kind of the best education, right? And you have to surround yourself with the right coaches and consultants to help you get there. And it's all part of the journey, in my opinion.
Well, there's no doubt that you are still living it, and being able to pivot, from dentistry to invest. I mean, you'd always have been in investments, but now all in on Acuere. Right. Tell us a little bit about when you say responsible real estate investment. That's in your tag. Like, what is that?
Yeah. So the reason I dreamed that up and my philosophy behind it was physicians, doctors, all of my colleagues have invested in stuff their whole career, right? And even when I was in my career early on, we're kind of the low-hanging fruit because we don't know what the right questions to ask, how to structure the right partnerships, how to judge whether an investment in anything is good or bad. We just kind of invest based on kind of what we're hearing and seeing. And a lot of times we're prone to making bad investment choices, right? And I've made a ton of bad investment choices. I've lost more money over the years than most people would in their career, right? But I learned from all of these mistakes, right? And I was able to absorb and afford these mistakes and then capitalize on it in terms of, hey, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to structure this paperwork this way anymore. And I just kind of made it my own recipe and soup. And then kind of started working on developing my company on, hey, I'm not going to do it this way because new investors who don't know me, when they come in, I want to make absolutely sure that they're not going to lose any money. Maybe they'll make a little lesser of a return, but I draw a line in the sandbox in the fact that they're not going to lose money with me.
Yeah.
All right. And we're going to kind of do everything the right way. And now we're going in with essentially like a surgical knife through all of the deals that I do, essentially. So all of the deals that we do now are our own deals. Like, we're not investing into other people's stuff. On it, I get pitched that kind of stuff all the time.
Sure.
And I'm like, listen, you're more than welcome to invest in things that I'm doing, but as far as me investing in what you're doing, probably not going to happen unless you want to sell me that idea. If it's
so you're doing the cooking, and you understand it at a high level, so you're confident when you're telling them this is worth you putting money into.
I have to, because at the end of the day, I have all these people investing into me, and they don't know what questions to ask, and I know that. So I have to be a very strong fiduciary on their behalf, right? And that's the way I look at it now.
No, that's great. And then as far as opportunities, new opportunities, how do you identify those and kind of balancing the risk versus reward? I mean, obviously healthcare is here to stay. It's, but obviously there's movement to hospitals, away from hospitals, surgery groups splitting off. I mean, tell me about your balance in the risk versus the reward.
Yeah. So I'm looking at new opportunities kind of on a daily basis now, just as a
Sure.
function of people know what I do and they see the name and all of that kind of stuff, right? Uh, Now the businesses we look at is the key is they have to be economically resilient and stable assets, right? So if in the event there were a COVID 2.0, that the way I set up the capital structure or like the way I buy the business and the setup of that has to be absolutely resilient to a COVID 2.0 if something like that were to ever happen, right?
Sure.
And fluctuations in interest rate and all of that, right? So every deal is a good deal. What makes these deals bad is how they're set up on the front end in terms of the debt and equity and the financials and the stuff that goes into it. In real estate's a funny business, right? Every real estate deal, in my opinion, goes sideways at some point in its lifespan.
Sure.
It's just the nature of that beast because there's so many moving parts and pieces to it, right?
Sounds like when you're selling a business, I mean, there's always things that come up and like, is this even going to happen? There's always a gremlin, we say.
Yeah, and a lot of last minute things. In the most important part is like how like somebody like me kind of navigates through the rough waters at those moments.
Yeah, no, that's incredible. So, okay, so like you said, you turned your side hustle, into a major business, of course, what advice would you give other dentists or business owners who want to diversify beyond their core business? What would be the advice you'd give them?
Yeah, I answer this question for a lot of people on a fairly regular basis, and the thing I tell them is whether you invest with somebody like me or somebody else, you're betting on the jockey and not the horse, right? And I tell them, I was like, if you don't understand that statement, Google it, ask somebody else, but really kind of engrave that somewhere in your head because it's so crucial.
Yeah. So understand like I said, don't get too emotional in something. Like if it's like in your case, if it's a sexy building in a great part of town, but if it's something that is not a long-term investment, just because you want to put your name on it or have it as a portfolio doesn't mean it's a good thing.
Does not mean it's a good thing. Correct.
Yeah, that's awesome. How about your leadership style? Obviously, you had a dental group that worked for you, dental assistants, hygienists, office people. You're evolving to from a clinical team to an investment team or people that have invested in you. They're essentially part of you. How has that changed or different, or is it the same?
It's the leadership. It's similarities and differences, right? Now the C-suite is all my investment analytics, my capital markets team. We have in-house legal team, in-house accounting, and all of that. So the C-suite's pretty nicely built out, and just like everything else, right? In dental, you have to have strong leadership, right? And your people have to understand that, hey, leadership is not only strong, but they have certain expectations of you and there's timelines, and you have to kind of gain that trust over time.
Sure.
Right. So my attitude and my behavior and all of that, it's important, right? And same thing for my temperament as well, right? So, I have a short circuit, right? But they know that, hey, his short circuit is for a reason. And my short circuit, I'll get annoyed at something 30 seconds later, and I know that happened. But in their day, I've screwed
right,
all
exactly.
Up.
All right, Dipesh is mad today.
But as over the years, they realized, hey, he was doing that. There was a reason. There was a method behind his madness.
Sure.
And they get it. And then as they age with me, they know, hey, he's on a trajectory, and you either kind of get on his school bus or you get off.
Right. Going back to when you sold your dental practice, what would be some advice to people that are just selling their business? Okay, obviously this podcast is about all businesses selling. You're a dentist. I just thought you were unique to talk about. Like, what were some of the things that was important to you in selling your business?
One of the most important part was a really seamless transition for my patients, so my clients, my consumer base, right? And having a office that's in one tip-top condition, right? So in essence, I transitioned over an office that 20-year-old practice, but if a consumer came into that office, they wouldn't think that office was more than 6 months old.
Yeah.
Right. So when I transitioned the place over, I didn't want the new ownership to worry about anything related to capital improvement or anything related to something breaking down anytime soon or anything like that. The only thing I wanted them to focus on was, hey, how am I going to execute with the new doctor in place at a very high level so that transition is as seamless as possible without creating any conflict or pain points or anything like that. And I really nicely. Now, obviously, when new ownership comes in, their vision and mission is always going to be different than what the doctor that's parting is going to be, right? So the parting doctor has to kind of close one eye because nothing is ever going to be identical to how I operate the business, right? And you set them up for success. And I always think one of the cool things I did was, it's like the president changed from me to the new folks, and I left a letter, a handwritten note in my desk of, hey, I'm passing on the torch to you. If you ever need to reach out, this is, I'm a phone call away on anything ever. Like, don't think like, hey, the chapter's ended, I'm out. It's not like that. I want to see you succeed.
These are emotional. I mean, that's the thing that they're very emotional. And this your life work. And like you said, you called me, about a week before closing. This is really hard because this is what has built my family, built my other business. And so it's important that you do it right. And the fact that you, like you said, invest until the end in it, because that's important. It's real easy just to take your foot off the pedal, but there's no cruise control. You're either going forward or you're slowing down.
And there's not, right? Because you have to transition not only your patients, but also your team, right?
Yeah.
And then the juggling act is, you're in the transition, you're juggling the new vision and the new direction that the practice is going to go with the old vision and the old way of how things are going, right? And you have to balance everything with the existing team so that way they can start drinking the new Kool-Aid mixture, whatever flavor that is, right? So it's a very tricky aspect.
Yeah. All right, we're wrapping up here soon. Give me, with all the things that you've done in your career, you have a beautiful family, and I'm glad that you're all sleeping in the same home most nights if you're not traveling for investments. But give me a mindset or habit that's been most valuable across all your businesses that you've done.
Yeah, so the most important thing is running a tight schedule. And getting into a solid routine, right? So if your routine, like my personal routine is, I'll wake up at 4:45. I stretch for a period of time because we're getting older, and then do my workout, and then finish off with cardio, and then I'll have my breakfast, and then I'll take the kids to school, and then I start my emails, and then it's just go, 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 go.
Yeah.
Until I have to pick them up from school.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. On it. But like for me, routine is very important. Right. And I feel I accomplish a lot of stuff once, it's just how it is.
Yeah.
And I try my best not to break that routine.
Yeah. And you can train yourself. There's no doubt about it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. So in our closing reflection, before we wrap up, I usually ask for like a golf tip because there's a little bit of golf theme here. But I know you're just kind of interested in playing some golf, but we're going to go to fitness because you've always been in incredible shape. What's a fitness like mindset or tip that you focus on when you're trying to stay at your top peak?
The biggest thing now is for me having fitness coaches to help with the stretching and then the strength and conditioning, right? Yeah. And I separate that in two different compartments. Why? Because as we get older, the stretching component has almost become just as important to me and my health as the strength and fitness, strength and conditioning component.
Yeah.
But I have to have the appropriate coaching so I don't get lazy.
Yeah, well,
because humans just have that tendency to get lazy.
Well, and if you know you have a coach, you got to show up.
You got to show up.
Yeah, right. Exactly. If you're your own coach, it's pretty easy to talk yourself out of it.
At some point, you're going to slack, and then the decline happens.
Well, Dipesh, it is great to see you. I miss you because I know you used to live up. We'd see each other more often, but I am so grateful to work with you on your business transition, but also I'm so proud of what you're doing. So I just want to say thanks to you for taking the time, and thanks for everybody for tuning in, Dr. Dipesh, and thanks for tuning in to Match Play. We'll see you next round.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's great to have you.